Merry Christmas. Okay, fine. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Welcome to Doctor Who Exactly, which is a vlog series I do about the excellent series that is Doctor Who. Twice Upon a Time aired on Christmas Day, and normally I manage to get my vloggies out within like the span of 24 hours because my first impressions of the episode are usually the ones that stick with me for the longest. So if you haven't been keeping tabs on my channel, you may have noticed I have not uploaded a video all of December aside from a couple of days before Christmas. Long story short, if you have a voice box infection, you can't talk. I've been sick for like a month, unable to speak at all. Well, welcome back to me, because listen to the timber. It's not quite as powerful as I want it to be just yet, but I'm back. I did have to take a couple of days off between Christmas and now because I still had to recover a bit. But enough about me, let's dig into Twice Upon a Time. I saw it with my brother who lives close by to where I live, and we're basically the only two Whovians of the family, and I'm probably a bigger Whovian than he is. He follows the series since, you know, Matt Smith's last. So we watched it together and we both very much liked the episode. End of the vlog. See you next year. No, of course not. I really liked this episode. I liked there was a Christmas theme without it being too Christmas and without it being mentioning passing like the return of Dr. Mysterio. It had very little to do with Christmas at all, or the Husbands of River Song. I really liked the joke where we got like previously on Doctor Who, and I said, well, you don't see that very often, do you? Like, even with the two-parters, they don't generally speaking start off last time on Doctor Who on the Doctor Who channel. Catching us off guard like that, like 709 episodes ago, that's a thing of brilliance. And here we have it. Here we have the 12th Doctor meeting the 1st Doctor. Yes, it's the David Bradley version, but come on. The previous two actors that played the 1st Doctor both passed away quite some time ago, unfortunately. The trailer for the episode promised us they were both going on an adventure, but there's very little adventuring to be had here in this episode, which is not a bad thing per se. The Doctor and the Doctor and this time-displaced captain, played by Mark Gatiss, in an excellent role. That man is a great, terrific actor. You should tell him that should you ever meet him. They get kidnapped by these glass people called the Testimony, and we just get great interaction between the 12th Doctor and what the 1st Doctor was. If I have any niggles, it's that they made him a little bit too old and fuddy-duddy. I know back in the 60s, William Hartnell's Doctor wasn't that alive and with a spring in his step as Peter Capaldi was in his last few years, and the show itself was a different format as well. But they made him they condensed too much of that era into a character trait. Like every now and then he'll say these somewhat misogynistic things, or like really outdated norms and values from back then, and that's fine because he did say those things. I haven't seen a lot of Hartnell, but every now and then these things just pop up in that era of television. It's something you can't avoid. I Love Lucy, I Dream of Jeannie, all those things. They probably have the Dick Van Dyke Show. Similar things happen. Problem here is that Stephen Moffat made that a running gag, which is a slight detriment to this episode, but it didn't bother me too much. Mind you, I'm a man between my 20s and 40s of average intelligence, average income, and I have absolutely nothing to worry about when it comes to society. What I did like was the First Doctor repeatedly coming into touch what he could become one day, because the First Doctor, it was not quite very Doctor-like. The show had only really just gotten started. I think Hartnell only did 3 years because of his health. I might be wrong there. I'm not very good with these things out of the top of my head. So sonic screwdrivers running about, whizzing about, and calling it a ship and all these antique things. It's great to see how much of a contrast there was. Contrast. I'm seeing a speech therapist tomorrow, I promise. So the Doctor reunites with Bill, but he's skeptical because Bill died. And Bill says, "Oh, I got saved by the puddle girl, fantastic." There's your reasoning for the episode. And they run away from the evil glass people because the glass people whisk away people just moments before they die. And the Doctor goes to a barren planet, Barren, barren, not Baron Mordo. So he goes to this planet, desolate, full of Dalek mutants, and he visits Rusty. Because we had to have a throwback to Rusty, which is quite weird. I was quite expecting something else, but I've been wrong so many times before. So the Doctor finds out that the evil glass aliens are not evil, and that's great. He says, "I don't know what to do when there's no evil plan." And the episode basically stops there. Well, the adventure stops there. The First Doctor and the 12th Doctor don't have anything else to do. So they bring back the captain to World War I, where he was supposed to die, because that's where the testimony tried to whisk him away from. And throughout the episode, Mark Gatiss made some poignant scenes, like he was willing to give his life for Bill's life, feeling that his time was up, which is a theme interwoven through the episode, because neither Doctor wants to go on. They want to, die as themselves. So the 12th Doctor wiggles the handle and he cheats a little bit, because he managed to bring back the captain to a moment in time, while it's still frozen somehow, where Christmas was just about to hit World War I, and they had the Christmas truce of 1914. I did not see that coming, and that's a lovely little thing to add, because it's a great big part of British history and German history. So I was just ecstatic to see that. Ecstatic, it's not the right word. I'm very pleased to see that. So the First Doctor sees the 12th Doctor being kind after seeing so many horrors in his future, and he realises there's quite some good in the universe, and he's part of it, because that was a point earlier on as well. The 12th Doctor, has a chat with Bill, has a chat with Nardole, shows up. His memories get restored, and we see Clara. I'm like, okay, Clara's great, but she's bad-mouthing him for forgetting her, but that's silly. It's nice for the 12th Doctor to die whole. So he goes into the TARDIS and he regenerates. Nothing at all really happened in this episode. There was very little moments of peril, very little moments of actual adventure. But that's what's great. That's all I loved about this episode. There's no last hurrah. He already had that with the Cybermen. He challenged so many times, and he died and he fell and he was whisked away from the brink of death. And now he just, has a nice moment with his friends. Like the universe was kind to the Doctor for once. That doesn't happen very often. It was kind, and the Doctor made me feel he was war-torn and tired when he said, "When's my moment of rest? When can I stop?" Because he says in this episode it's been 1500 years since the First Doctor. That's quite some time. So Peter Capaldi regenerates and he gives off a lovely speech. It's a great speech, but it went on a little bit too long, like the bit where it goes about like, "Only children can hear your real name, when the hearts are in the right place and the stars are as well." I'm like, okay. But the final line, "Doctor, I Let You Go is great, and him trying to be like a bossy mentor for his upcoming regeneration is great as well. Like, here's some guidelines. I will miss Peter Capaldi. I will miss him so much. He's been my favourite Doctor since the show came back, and he's probably my second favourite overall. No, I did not change the batteries on the camera. What are you going on about? I will miss the 12th Doctor. Peter Capaldi brought such gravitas to the role that I feel that even with crummy scripts, he made it feel fantastic and excellent. I don't like to make them like the top 10 best ones, but you know, you have your favourites and you have your maybe not so favourites, and Peter Capaldi has really proven his worth in my opinion. I still look forward to Jodie Whittaker. I mean, she only got one word in, but she made it seem like she was having such glee. The point of view camera, looking around because we're waiting for the first woman Doctor. You know, the first woman as the Doctor, let me put it that way. And we still get teased a little bit. So, fine. No, you don't get to see it until like the last 30 seconds. And she says one word, brilliant, in a Yorkshire accent. I love the Yorkshire accent. And she falls to earth. That's it. Nothing else. Even Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi got more out of their fucking first appearance. This puts her like even below David Tennant, who got new teeth. Weird. Where was I? Oh yes, Barcelona. Which immediately, you know, gave us an idea of what kind of man he was like, because he was full of, you know, the same kind of vigour. And I feel that, you know, Jodie Whittaker is going to bring a new kind of energy to the show. I hope at the very least. So yes, that was Twice Upon a Time. Here are some bits I wanted to see that did not happen. I was really expecting Peter Capaldi's last adventure to tie back into the Day of the Doctor, because that's where we see him for the first time. Remember when in the Day of the Doctor, the iconic line, "No sir, all 13, and we see a close-up of a hand flipping a switch and Peter Capaldi's furious eyebrows, and it's like, oh yes, oh my god, there's a new Doctor coming soon, isn't there? Because that was, you know, November, before Matt Smith's regeneration. I was expecting Peter Capaldi's last adventure to be like, there's one more thing I have to do and help save the day in the Day of the Doctor, but no. And that's basically it. It's fan wank, to be honest. I just wanted my inner fanboy to be appeased. I should be appeased at all times. Twice Upon a Time is a very feel-good story. It's not much going on in it about action, which is what Christmas specials more tend to be. They tend to be a little bit more like less on the thinky side and more about, you know, what fun we can have with this. And this was all about the characters, and it was nice, and I'm very happy to see Peter Capaldi go out on his own terms like that, or the 12th Doctor really. Anyway, if you like my opinion, then you shouldn't tell me, but if you hate it and think I'm stupid because I'm wearing a Christmas hat on the 30th December, there's a little comment section down below here. If you hate my duck tie, well, it's not my fault. I didn't come up with the design. If you think I'm a big fat pig because I'm eating olives and sausage and cheese on, you know, the most joyous of days, well, I weigh less than I did last year, so that's why I'm splurging. I get to splurge. It's a good word, splurge. Subscribe, because then you can see my big fat ugly mug. See you soon.